You probably know that narcissists attract empaths to hurt them, but in fact, it's also the opposite way around, because empaths attract narcissists to save them with the hope that you can heal the narcissists. And so, if you have found that you're surrounded by narcissistic people, and let's say in your romantic life you consistently attract narcissistic partners who only care of themselves and don't really take your needs, take your desires by heart, and they aren't willing to like support you in your life, well, my friend, in this video, my intention is to help you realize why this happens and to also give you the solution of how you can restrict the flow of narcissistic relationships that you attract so that you can finally start living your life. That being the case, let's directly get into the topic. So, for me personally, for example, I've been empathetic all my life. Like from the moment I was born, I was always there to help others, to serve them. I was always compromising my own values. I was trying to sacrifice myself for others. This is what we empaths do. And we do it mostly because, well, part of us obviously feels good about helping others. But the more shadow, the more darker part of us, and the more darker reason of why we are constantly willing to help others and to serve them, and we are even willing to compromise our own needs and boundaries for others, and we are also always trying to please them, is because this way we are ensuring the fact that we feel safe within our body. And so when we see, let's say, a narcissistic people who is somebody who is just hurt, like they're really deeply hurt and traumatized from their childhood, and then we try to save them, like unconsciously this inner child of ours hopes that if I can save this narcissistic person, if I can like show him that it is in his benefit for him to care about others, and like he's not the center of the world, and there are also other people in his life that if he were to care for, he would live much more fulfilling and great life. If I'm able to do that, then I'll feel safe. And so I want to save him so that I can feel safe within myself. And it's obvious, narcissists attract empaths to hurt them, but empaths are looking to be heard. Like, we are the ones who are looking to be heard. We are the ones who are looking to save others because we don't want to face ourselves. And this is like the hardest truth to make our minds come around and to realize. Because it takes responsibility. It takes in a responsibility to realize the fact that if I am attracted to narcissists, then consistently, and I have this pattern in my life that every single romantic relationship I attracted is with somebody who isn't emotionally available, who is not there to meet my needs, who is just there, let's say, to use me emotionally, to benefit from that relationship, but isn't taking me seriously, who is like in that relationship to just fulfill his needs but never cares about mine, and I am still attracted to that person, and I have no boundaries, like no healthy boundaries of what I tolerate and I don't tolerate, then, my friend, isn't it obvious that we should ask ourselves the question, why? Why do I keep being attracted to narcissistic people? What am I looking to get out of it? What do I hope would happen? Because these people obviously don't care about me. And obviously I don't put boundaries, and I'm still in this pattern in which I'm attracted to them. And it's actually, let me share with you a funny story. It's an interesting story of a client I'm currently working with. And I can also, like, through that story, I can illustrate to you how it's actually good for us that we attract narcissists, because eventually they lead us to our spiritual awakening, where we can experience the greatest healing and we can finally start living our life authentically. So my client, she was constantly being attracted to this guy who just weren't treating her seriously. He wasn't mature enough. Like, he was almost only thinking of himself and like of, let's say, their sexual life, and he wasn't really looking for a long-term healthy relationship. He was there because of the status. He was there because of like the high opinion that his friends would have about him, that she was dating this beautiful woman that's currently my client, that I'm helping her go through that relationship and attract a more healthy and like uplifting partnerships with other people in her life. So and then eventually they broke up, but she was again attracted to him even though they broke up. And so after they broke up, they got back together after, I don't know, a couple of weeks, and this repeated on 2 or 3 cycles. And it was hard for her to understand, why am I attracted? Like, what happens? Why am I attracted to such kind of a guy who isn't taking my needs seriously, and who might not even be looking for the same like relationship vision that I am looking at? And eventually, by working with her inner feelings, she was able to realize that he was actually her savior. Like, initially she was looking to save him. She was looking to mother him, almost to be a mother to him, so that he can learn how to treat her as a woman. And but on a deeper level, he was his savior, because by her being constantly attracted to him, eventually she realized, and when she was able to fully let go of that relationship, when they eventually broke up for good, she was able to realize, okay, I can see how he's putting himself first in his life. And then she realized how she was, like, in many areas of her life, she was doing a lot of things for others, but she was neglecting her own personal needs. So it's almost as if she was making other people more important than her own self. And then by attracting narcissistic partners in her life, this was reflecting her need to also take her personal needs and like desires and boundaries seriously. Not only other people's needs, desires, and boundaries seriously, as generally, again, we empaths tend to do. So again, if you find yourself constantly pleasing others, compromising your values, attracting narcissists, ask yourself the question, why would that be? Why am I tolerating that? Why am I tolerating being close with people who don't care about my emotional well-being, who aren't here to support me, who don't care about my goals in life, about my visions, who are only using me as supply? Right? Because narcissists, this is what they do. They use empaths as supply. Because empaths, we think that we are so special that we want to save everybody, and like it's our responsibility to save the whole world, right? And so when an empath sees, when a narcissist sees an opportunity that they can constantly get something out of a relationship with an empath and not give anything in return, they take that opportunity, because for them, they're the, like, for narcissists, the way how they perceive the world is that I am in the center of this world. Everybody else is just a tool I can use to get my needs met. So they don't really take people seriously. They don't take them as living beings. They just take them as tools to fulfill their purpose and like to achieve their goal, whatever it is. And so as empaths, it's different. We think that it is our goal, it's our purpose in life to save everybody, and neglect our own selves, as if we are so unworthy that everybody else is higher than us, and that's why we need to always focus on others and not focus on our own selves. And that's why we attract narcissists. Because again, we are looking to save them, and by looking to save them, they're actually reflecting to us this personal need that we have, that basically we want to take care for ourselves, but we cannot take care for ourselves unless we have boundaries in place. Because boundaries, they're part of this self-care, right? It's like, unless you know what are your emotional boundaries, what are your limits in relationships with others, you will always sacrifice yourself for others with the hope that they will eventually see how valuable they are. But the chances that this will happen are really small, because if you don't first understand by yourself and accept by yourself how valuable you are in your own life, how can others realize that? No, others won't realize that. Like, you just consistently attract narcissists so that they show you this lesson. And in this way, narcissists are your savior. And eventually you realize that. Eventually you let go, you surrender. You start asking deeper questions. And you will see that, yeah, it's actually narcissists, they want to hurt empaths. But empaths want to hurt narcissists who are not, want to save narcissists who are not looking to be saved. And so by trying to save somebody who is not looking to be saved, you're basically just putting yourself in a self-fulfilling prophecy of hurting yourself, because you're investing so much emotionally in somebody. They're not taking that seriously, they're not seeing that clearly, and then you consistently keep doing that over and over again, and then eventually you find yourself depleted, not having enough energy for your own personal needs, for your own self-care, for like for doing whatever you want and whatever feels inspiring for you, and like fulfilling your dreams and desires in life, because you're always there to help others. And by being always there to help others, you forget yourself. In fact, most empaths, we tend to suffer from the wound of abandonment. We are afraid deep down within, like deep, really deep down, we are afraid that we can be abandoned. We are abandoned. And that's why we try to save, we try to care for everybody, we try to be there for everybody, with the hope that if we show how much we care for others, they won't abandon us. But what we don't realize is that by doing so, we are abandoning ourselves, and we are radiating that energy of neediness, of like, I am not worthy. That's why I want to prove my worthiness to everybody around me, so that if I do, they'll realize how worthy I am and won't abandon me. But by doing so, I am consistently abandoning myself. And by abandoning myself, nobody else will realize how worthy I am in their life. So unless, here is the biggest lesson, unless you learn to set healthy boundaries, to communicate your personal needs clearly, and to not try to save people who are not willing to be saved, you will keep repeating that cycle and attract to yourself narcissistic partners. When you realize that you are like, because you basically learn the lesson that narcissists has put on pedestal, that they're the center of their life. When you as an empath realize that you are also the center of your life, and before going to save everybody else, you start working on yourself first, and then go out and extend that energy to others, unless you do that, this cycle won't break, my friend. So my intention again for this video was just to share with you part of my journey and part of the things that you realize. Because if you find yourself stuck in that pattern of attracting narcissistic people, I really encourage you, I highly encourage you, just take some time by yourself, like take one day and question really deeply, really genuinely, really honestly, why? What is the payoff that I am getting of attracting narcissists? What am I hoping to do? Like for me, I was hoping, when I was still in that pattern a couple of years back in my life, I was hoping that I could save them, right? I was hoping that eventually I'll show them how worthy I am, and I'll show them how how great it is to care for others, for other feelings, not only yours. And by doing so, I was just kept supply, right, for their purposes. And eventually, by consistently doing the inner work, meditating, working on myself, like, because I was living with a friend of mine who was narcissistic back then, and yeah, the story was that he basically did everything he could, everything that was in his abilities to just always be right, always be the cooler, more cool, always be more like whatever it is, stronger, more capable, and was always like using me for gaining status along our mutual social circles. And eventually, through meditation and through journaling and through working with my feelings, I realized, okay, I have boundaries, I have my own personal needs, and so I started fulfilling them by myself, instead of just going to save other people who are not willing to be saved. And then I started communicating my boundaries clearly with him and with other people in my life. And by boundaries, I don't only mean what I don't tolerate, but this is included, and this is most of it. By boundaries, I also mean my needs. I started communicating my needs and boundaries clearly with people in my life with whom there wasn't a mutual transfer of benefit, of value in our relationship. Like in relationships in which I was only giving and not getting anything. And it was just draining me emotionally. And so I started communicating my boundaries. And what happened was that some people started being pushed away. With the people like who were ready to evolve, like we had really deep conversations, really deep emotional conversations. And then eventually we put a new standard in our relationship where now both of our emotional needs are met, and like now my boundaries weren't crossed, because like obviously when your boundaries are crossed and when the other person doesn't respect your boundaries, then it's like, then you put an ultimatum. You say to them, well, if you're not willing to respect my boundaries, I respect my own boundaries and I'm like willing to be respectful of yours. And if you're not willing to respect mine, well, there is nothing for us. Like we cannot be in whatever kind of relationship anymore. So, and then people naturally push away and are exchanged by other people. Or if the people around you are willing to accept your boundaries and your needs, then you create a new standard in your relationship, and now the relationship becomes much more emotionally deep, supportive, and uplifting. And you as an empath, again, my friend, if you have clicked on this video and if you're watching it up until now, boundaries are essential, absolutely essential. And now I just wanted to give you one resource I have. It's like the 3 questions healthy boundaries framework, which you can find in the description below. Under this video you can find it. It's like a document, a Google Docs file, and inside you'll find 3 questions that if you take some time to contemplate and answer genuinely, I can't tell you how much your relationships will transform. And then after you of course do the work and start communicating what you've realized. So this was everything I wanted to share with you in this video, my friend. That it's not only that narcissists attract empaths to hurt them. No, empaths attract narcissists because they want to be heard. Like we unconsciously we want to be heard, because this is how we realize that we are also important. Like not only other people are important, and we also matter. We are also the ones who deserve to get our needs met. And we also deserve for other people to care for us. And unless we connect with our boundaries and communicate them clearly, this is so challenging to achieve. Like, that's why, my friend, check out this framework that I shared about. And if you found this video to be useful, to be valuable for you, like it, comment down below, let me know what's your experience about attracting narcissists, if you find yourself in that pattern, and what is the biggest thing you're learning from that. And if you're also new to the channel, to the Soulful Relationships channel, subscribe to it, because inside this channel you'll find like all the support through these daily videos that I upload for you to experience only conscious, uplifting, and meaningful relationships. That being the case, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye for now. I love you, my friend.